Hi everyone, this is Sharina Ankhi-Krol from Ankhi-Krol Law. Today we're speaking with another entrepreneur and one of my past clients, Michelle Ruiz. And Michelle has been a client for several years and we met through a mutual connection just to show you the power of connections and how it can give you more business as well. But we'll get back into that in a little bit. I'll let Michelle introduce herself and her business. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you so much, Sharina, for having me here today. I'm very excited for this. So my business is I run a Spanish enrichment program for preschools and public schools here in New York City. Our main publics are preschools, and we have a team of teachers that go to the different centers and teach Spanish through all the grades.
And what's the name of your business, just so everybody knows?
The name of my business is españate.com. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram, and we're doing now free live sessions every week.
Okay, perfect. So tell me a little bit about how, COVID-19 has changed your business. What kind of impact has it had? Because I know everyone from top to bottom has been impacted by this pandemic.
Yes, we didn't know how it, like what the big of an impact it was going to have when we started hearing about the COVID. It all happened very fast in March, and schools were very worried, the parents were very worried, but it basically went from having nearly 30 centers to having nothing from the week of March 11th to the week of March 18th. That's how radical it was.
Right. I know you and I have been trying to meet up over coffee, and that was really the time we tried again to meet up over coffee after after not being
Yeah.
able to do it because we were so busy in the beginning and then we were just not allowed to anymore. Um,
Yeah.
so, it's definitely affected personal lives as well, apart from professional life. So what are you doing now to take your business from what it was to adjusting to this new scenario? Like, how have you been able to adapt?
So my business had never been a social media business. Our businesses had worked directly, like we worked directly with schools, and schools don't look that much into social media before this happened. It was more word of mouth, by reference, and we had direct relationship with each center. Now, since this happened, I started quickly building an online platform to be able to do the classes all online. So most of the centers, unfortunately, haven't been able to do online classes because they've lost all their clients. Like all the parents can't even afford right now to have them at the schools. The schools are closed, so they can't do the online classes either. But we still have a few schools that are offering daily classes and also enrichment programs. And then we're also doing Facebook Lives, and we're promoting our sessions through different platforms online. And that's how we've been maintaining our classes.
Yeah, and I know right before we started recording too, you told me that you're currently in New Jersey when I know you're from, you usually live in New York City. Tell me what
Yes.
happened and how you made that migration in, in the middle of all of this.
Well, my best friends live here in New Jersey. They invited me to come. They were very worried about the situation in Manhattan. I was also very worried about the situation in my neighborhood. The spread has been so brutal and it went so fast that I was very concerned about being there. So when they invited me to come a little bit like outside of the city to a more relaxed place and be with them, I was automatically like, yes. I packed the same day and I got out of the city. I feel very, very blessed.
Absolutely. And if you have been watching the series on COVID-19 that I've been doing, you know that I've been interviewing people that are in and around New York City. So, as you know as well, my office is in New York City. It's right in
Yeah.
Manhattan. And the effect that this pandemic has had on the lives of New Yorkers is just astronomical. It's
Yes.
something that most people aren't even understanding outside of this, tri-state area, that is the reason why I started this series, just so you can understand from a real life perspective on what we're going through and how it has affected us, in every way possible. So Michelle, I also wanted to talk to you about the fact that you are from Spain, which,
Mm-hmm.
the country I absolutely fell in love with. I was there in September. And honestly, I don't know why you're in the US. I want to
Yeah,
move to Spain.
thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. And when I went there, I just completely fell in love with every region that we visited. But I just want to bring to our audience, the differences between what has happened to Spain with the coronavirus, to what's happening here, because I know Spain was also very hard hit with COVID-19. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about what you know personally, that's happening there?
Yes, yes. So it all started with Italy, and I also have a very good friend living in Italy. So I was a little bit aware of how fast it was spreading because of that. In Spain, they started 2 weeks before us, but they have been much more strict than what it's been here in the United States. They declared a state of alarm.
What does that mean?
Well, I'm literally translating. It's called estado de
Okay.
alarma. That means that by law, you
Hmm.
have to follow the rules or you get fined. So they had all the police in the streets, and you literally couldn't leave the house unless you were going to the supermarket to shop. You couldn't go out for anything else, and you couldn't leave your neighborhood. You had fines up to $1,500 every time that you left the house. So if you had a dog, you could go for a 10-minute walk, but it had to be, I don't know how you say in miles, but like literally like around your block,
Hmm.
10 minutes and back in again. And it's actually lasted 8 weeks like that. My family's there. So I've been speaking with them 3-4 times a day because it's really affected people emotionally.
Of course.
And we've been supporting each other, but it has been able to cut the spread, I feel like in a faster way. Right now they're reopening restaurants on the 11th, this Monday, and they're starting to go back to a normal life. They have 2 hours in the morning from 8 to 10 a.m. and then they have 3 hours at night, or 2 hours at night from 8 to 10 or 7 to 10. So now they're in a better place, but it's been really, really strict.
Right.
Extreme.
Yeah, and when we start complaining about what's happening in the US, in New York, New Jersey, which have been the hardest hit areas in the country, we talk about how we have to stay in, but we don't really have a real curfew where you absolutely cannot be out. You can still be
Yeah.
out as for necessary items, for a good reason. So I don't even think Americans can really comprehend the state of alarm that you were describing. So when you mentioned that to me before, I thought that was really interesting, considering the fact that so many Americans in the Midwest and in the middle of the country are like refusing to even wear masks. That just boggles the mind on both scenarios, right? So having that experience, from you being from Spain and knowing that they can do that type of safety, what is your opinion on what's happening in the US now?
So the reality is, from the moment that I saw the way that it was happening in Spain, I I quarantined myself. Like, I haven't literally stepped outside of the house since March 18th at all. And I stopped using the subway a week before, like from like March 11th. I didn't even use the subway or anything because I saw how it was coming. I respect all opinions, and I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories and things going around. Honestly, it gets to a point where I don't know what's true or what's not true. What I do know is that the cases, at least in New York City, they're real. People are dying, big amounts of people every day. And I go back tomorrow to the city, and I'm honestly very scared to go back because I think it's going to take a few months to recover. Like whatever you think that has happened, the reality is that people have been getting sick. There's a lot of people that have died, and there's a lot of families that are grieving. And unless it happens to you, you don't understand the level of pain that all those people are going through. So at least we have to respect and follow the rules as much as possible. And for all the people that are working in the hospitals and doing the hard work for us.
Right. I absolutely agree. I think it's a part of, not being close enough proximity wise and not personally knowing someone that's been affected. Where, Michelle, my mom is a nurse in Queens. So as we know,
Oh,
Queens
yeah.
has been very hard hit. It's the epicenter of the epicenter. And she's seen things and she's been going through things that, make me wonder why the media isn't focusing even more on on these types of real cases. And then I have a neighbor who lost her mother and her uncle 2 weeks apart last month in April. I'm sorry, in March. My goodness, what month are we in? In April, sorry. It's already May. So I'm kind of losing track of days at this point. It's been over a month and a half that I'm in quarantine. So I am taking it very seriously, as are you. And I feel like, even though the states are beginning to open things back up, it will be up to the people themselves to take precautions. Because just because things are opening up, in my opinion, it doesn't mean that there's any significant less threat than there was before, because the virus isn't just going to disappear.
Yes, I'm really worried about when we start going out again. We have the date of May 15th. I know I heard yesterday that New Jersey just put it for June 15th. I don't know if you heard that. But
I
I'm worried
haven't
about,
yet. Is it June
yeah,
15th now? Okay, they pushed it back.
yeah, they pushed it back for another month, I believe, yes. But I believe I'm very worried about the recontamination.
Mm-hmm.
So that people going out very excited and not taking the right precautions, which is at least like wearing the mask and washing your hands or having hand sanitizer with you constantly and like every 20 minutes, like just
Right.
taking care that you have that covered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So do you foresee businesses getting back to where it was in April?
Honestly, I would have never expected the comeback in Spain as
Mm-hmm.
it's been. Like 3 weeks ago, for me, it wasn't in my imagination that they could be reopening restaurants on May 11th. It is true that they're opening them at 50% of the capacity, and it has to be terrace, and they have to wear masks and things like that. But the reality is that if we find a way to overcome this, like if the scientists find something or there's a medicine or something, it can drastically change the situation. As for what I see right now for the rest of the country, I do see that it can become a bit like going back to some kind of normal.
Hmm.
But for New York City, I think that at least till September, it's not going to go back to a normal situation. That's for what we have right now, unless some kind of miracle happens, which could happen, and things change drastically.
Right. And I think, it'll be up to us personally to see what is best for each of us, going forward, even into the next year, because it seems like, 2021 would be right around the corner if we just stay in quarantine and, life is on hold, but we'll just have to wait and see how that happens. So is there
Exactly.
any words of wisdom you would have for entrepreneurs who are losing hope, not knowing what is coming next? Obviously, no one does, but what would your suggestion be for someone who is like you or I, an entrepreneur who is sort of confused and lost and losing hope?
Well, in my case, I can only share what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I've been seeking for help. I'm doing like coaching courses. I'm investing in learning how to do my business online. And I'm investing a lot of time in studying how all the social media works, and mostly how to be right now in this moment of service, like how to be of service and how to help out the community. And incredibly, like offering to do things for free or to help out people has been bringing me back some business too. Also now with the online world, I'm aware that I can work anywhere in America and the whole world. So I've been approaching markets outside of New York, and that's been really helpful. And I've joined some groups of teachers and schools, and that's been very helpful too. So it's like looking for a community for the support, doing courses to see how you can update yourself. I've been getting the coaching to maintain a little bit of the mental health and see more of the opportunity in the situation instead of all the downfalls that we're having, and accepting that we are going to probably live a different type of reality or a different type of normal when this situation passes.
Absolutely. So as a one of the last questions I'm going to ask you, since we've touched on the mental health issue, on and off throughout our conversation, I just want to mention that, it's so important these days to stay positive, right? But I feel like a growing number of small business owners and entrepreneurs, they're actually finding it really hard to keep up with the positivity because there are worries, there are situations where there's so much uncertainty that it's not always possible to keep a happy face, right? To make it look like everything is fine and dandy, like we see on Instagram, for example. So, for people in those situations, I personally would like to say that, it's okay to have your downtime, right? It's okay to
Yeah.
feel those feelings, because at the end of the day, your mental health is very, very important, if not crucial in your success going forward. What would you have to say to someone who just is unable to stay positive at all times? What recommendation do you have for someone who's feeling like no one's really seeing their issues?
Yeah, well, I have to say I was a little bit like that last week myself. I was feeling very down and not very hopeful about everything. I just sat with it and I started speaking with my close friends and my network and asking for help. And it's incredible, like the moment you release it, sometimes it's the moment when someone says something, and then like humans, we like in Spain we say like we attach even to fire. Like the moment, like we have hope, I believe, in our mind. So the moment we see a little bit of light, we grab into it. Sometimes the problem is that we can't see it. So for me, the moment that I started speaking with my friends and looking for solutions and doing with all this coaching and asking for help, and I saw like the way to the light, that was the moment that boom, the hope came back to me and I started functioning again. But I did have a few days where I couldn't do anything. I was just completely blocked, and it's fine. You just sit with those feelings and let the answers come, let the guidance come. I believe in the power of prayer. So I've been doing a lot of praying and a lot of, please, like give me the answers or the guidance. And in my case, that works. So each one has their own ways to do things.
And it will all be okay at the end. That is our hope.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for your time. And I hope we can both get back to meeting in person and having that coffee once all of this is over and our restaurants open back up. So
Yeah.
thanks for your time. And I hope you can feel more optimistic, as I am hoping to feel, because some days even I have those days of uncertainty. And it's okay to,
Yes.
as long as you have someone to fall back on. And if you don't, at least you can think to yourself, let those feelings out in writing. You can write on your journal, or you can even call up someone you haven't talked to in a long time. I'm sure you can find support in places you didn't even think exists. So with
Yes.
that, yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I said we're on the lucky side that we are healthy. So that's the biggest blessing. Having the health right now, that's the good part.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michelle, for
Thanks.
everything. And I hope to see you soon. Guys, if you like this video and want to learn more about real life issues that are affecting entrepreneurs in their personal and professional lives in and around New York City, please do subscribe to this channel, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.